Hey guys, and welcome back to another Lost Bits video right here on TetraBitGaming, the series where we explore the scrapped, unused, and unseen content in video games. If you haven't noticed by now, lately I've been blazing through some Nintendo series games that I haven't covered yet, like Yoshi and Wario. Following that trend, in this video I will be taking my first dive into the Metroid series here on Lost Bits, and start with the first game in the series, the original Metroid for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Also, as I'm making this video, I'm actually in the process of moving to a new place, so this video will be a bit on the shorter side, and if I sound extra nasally here, I'm also a bit sick, which is always fun. Anyways, sit back, relax, go grab a missile tank, it's time to find some lost bits. Alrighty, let's start things off with some unused graphics. First are some unused tiles for Samus herself. Initially, as seen in a Japanese commercial for the game, nice. These unused sprites would be used to differentiate whether Samus was shooting left or right. Like here we can see Samus's arm cannon further from us, and in this sprite which is used in the game, it's closer. This would make sense, right? Well, for whatever reason this idea was scrapped, and in the final release, the same Samus sprite will be used whether Samus is facing left or facing right. And when you stop to think about it, it's really kind of dumb because this means that the arm cannon must be switching which arm it's on for these sprites to make sense. Like here it is on Samus's left arm, and now it must be on her right. I would say that this change was made to save space in the game's storage, but I mean the sprites are still there, so I don't really have an idea why this change was made. I guess Nintendo was just hoping fans wouldn't really be paying attention to which arm Samus's arm cannon was on. Next are some unused sprites for Samus again, but this time in her suitless form as she is running. It's been over 30 years since this game came out, right? I hope you didn't need a spoiler warning that you can see Samus suitless, and even more suitless. Anyway, the changes are pretty minor, but they're still there. I'll zoom in here to better show some of these alterations. Notable differences here are arm placements, messiness of hair, and voluptuousness? You know what I mean. And even more crazy, get ready for this, there's also an unused graphic of an alternate foot for Samus. There's not much to say here, it's a foot that was for whatever reason unused. Guess someone just didn't like this foot. Now we got some enemy designs that were altered in the final release. Here we see the multi-viola enemies that, based on concept art, were once planned to look much less orby and more orange than what we see in the game. Also, although still very similar, the Rinka enemies, as basic as they are, were also a tad different. Yup, Circle Bad Guy 1 is different than Circle Bad Guy 2. Love the creativity, Nintendo. And next up, we have an unused enemy in the game, Fake Ridley. Fake Ridley is apparently still found in the game's code and can be loaded into the game where he will appear fully functional. Now I say apparently because although there is documentation of his existence, I couldn't find any way to load him in myself. Either way, we can see that this Fake Ridley would feature a different color palette than that of normal Ridley, as it's far brighter and more magenta than purple. And the secondary features like the inner wings, teeth, and eyes are orange instead of light green. It apparently mimics the attacks of normal Ridley, but can be easily defeated with just a single missile or screw attack hit. So the original release of Metroid in Japan featured a saving mechanic, which was replaced by a code-based system for international releases. Metroid was loaded onto a special PCB board known as the SN-ROM board, with the feature to have a backup battery to facilitate saving. The battery option was of course not taken here, but some fans believe that since Metroid is the first game to use this special board, maybe at one point it was considered to include the battery and save feature as well. Whether it was a way to reduce production costs or something else, time has proven that ultimately for games such as this, code-based ways to reload game progress is better in the long run since the battery doesn't die, which pretty much just deletes your save file. Next are some inaccessible rooms in Norfair, which, surprise surprise, can't be normally accessed. These unused areas are all copies of other areas in the game, so it's unknown exactly why they are here. My best guess though would have to be they were just used for some basic testing to see how they function. And of course, since these are all inaccessible, all the doors here don't lead to anything. Now lastly, I want to talk about this game's quote debug mode, end quote. By entering the code Narpa's Sword followed by a bunch of zeros, you will get a slew of bonuses such as infinite health, infinite missiles, the ice beam, as well as all of the game's items. Apparently the code is believed to be a reference to Toru Narihiro, a programmer who helped convert the game from the Famicom to the NES. Metroid is well known for having codes such as Justin Bailey, or this one, but they are all actually flukes that just happen to have certain effects. There's even a Metroid password generator website where you can select the effects you want it to grant, and it will spit out a code that can work for that said effect. Or vice versa, you can also type in your own code and it will show you the effects that it will grant. But that being said, Narpa's Sword is actually purposefully added to the game and does not check out with the password generators I mentioned before. In fact, as it stands, it's actually the only conventional cheat code to ever be added into a Metroid game. It may not be very robust, even for an NES game like we saw in some Mega Man games, but I still think it's really cool that it exists. And that will be it for this shorter Lost Bits video on the original Metroid, and I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you did, be sure to slap a like down below and also let me know what other games you want to see me cover in the future. If you're new around here and you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of my other Lost Bits videos by clicking on the card right here. I'm sure you'll enjoy them as well. And if you want to stay even more up to date with me and the channel, be sure to subscribe here, as well as swing by my Twitter and other social media things, which will all be linked in the description below. But as always guys, thank you all so much for watching today and for all of your amazing support. I'm gonna go crush some cold medicine and rest up, so I will see you in a bit.